The chef has prepared a terrifying feast that will satisfy the toughest critics. If you enjoy the best, only the best, hit the like and subscribe and devour that bell icon to get the best seat in the house when the chef has prepared a new dish of terrifying true stories. Now, take a seat. Dinner is served. My friend received a call from a ghost. A few months ago, my friend Ria got a call from an unknown number. Her security app said that it was from someone named Sarah. That number was not flagged as spam, so she received the call. But on picking it up, the person on the other side was asking her questions as if they were a telemarketer or something like that. She was called by that number before too, when she couldn't just pick it up. But after the conversation that night, she blocked the number. As you read further, you will know that this was literally her grave mistake. The person on the other side tried to call her after getting blocked too, but after sometimes they realized that they have been blocked from Ria's side. Ria told me about that incident on the night that happened, since she received the call at nighttime. Probably even the telemarketer's shifts are over by that time. It was about 9 p.m. So she told me how she even heard the other person giggling in between as they spoke. But she let go of it. While we were talking about it, we both got a call from the same number at the same time, except the number was international. She sent me the number and I was astonished how it was the same number. Then I received a message from that other number which asked, "Do you have a friend?" It was late at night and alone in my dorm room at the end of the building. I was scared but thought to myself that this is just an online thing, and this will go away if I just keep my phone away. I could ignore it if something doesn't seem right for my own sake, right? Or so I thought. I asked them for their identity, but they said, "She will call her again. Your friend can redeem herself. Only if she picks up the call from Sarah first." Sarah is angry. I tried sending messages to them again, but they just wouldn't go. I thought someone must be playing a prank, so I thought of not bothering Ria with those messages. A few days after, I tried calling Ria, but she just wouldn't pick up. At that point, I was frightened because I still hadn't forgotten the creepy call at midnight, uh, and the message too. So I called her mother and was shocked to see her reply. She said that Ria went crazy and wouldn't stop saying, "Save me from Sarah," and she is coming for me repeatedly. They asked her who Sarah was, what was her full name, anything about her. They searched her contacts, but there was no Sarah in it. A couple days later, Ria was found dead, and the walls of her room were smeared with her blood. On the floor, there were ashes shaped to write, "Sarah Jasper Evans just wanted to be friends, so she is taking away her friend's beautiful soul." Ria was cut from below her knees and from her elbows, probably so that she can't run away. She didn't have wounds that would be enough for a person to die. A team of detectives were appointed on the case. After that call I made to her mother, I received a text again from the same country code as the one which messaged me at that midnight. It said, "She should have listened to Sarah." I replied again with the same question. "Who are you?" They said, "I can tell you who Sarah was." I read the message but didn't reply. A few minutes later, I get a text again. It was a long one. Sarah was my best friend. I met her online. She was the most social person, at least according to what I could understand from her social media. But I was wrong. I had met her when I was in the easier semester, so I naturally couldn't find equal time to talk to her as I did before, once the other semester started. One day she broke down on the call and told me how lonely she was. I felt nothing but pity. She said I was her only friend, and she could not talk to her parents because they thought she was a disappointment, and she should be grateful that they are letting her stay with them. She told me how she would call random people just to hear someone talk. She was that lonely. She would call people as a telemarketer or anything. She liked people, but she couldn't step out to meet any in real life because her parents made her very conscious of her looks. The most courage she had ever shown in her life was when she got a job. She changed her name to Sarah Jasper Evans from Sarah Singh because she wanted to be unique and she thought her last name was too common. She came from an Indian family. She hated people blocking her, though. She would go to any height for getting herself unblocked. Once it so happened that a person from her school Okay, just leave this. Let's not talk about it. But yeah, Sarah could also turn violent sometimes. But she for sure valued friendship over anything. I think that is a lot that I told you about her. Now, let's come to the story you want to know. Sarah killed herself. I know that because she sent me a message before doing so. It read, "Thank you for being my best friend, for life and beyond." I was scared receiving that. I thought that it might be a prank. Then I searched from the news in her area, and I found out that she had indeed died, in a very disturbing way. But she didn't die alone. She took away another person with her, her ex-best friend who abandoned her and blocked her. That shook me to the core. I couldn't believe that such a sweet person could do all this. It took me some days to process the grief of her death. A few months after that, I was pulling an all-nighter when I received a message from Sarah's number. "Hey buddy, remember me?" As soon as I saw the notification, I searched her local news again and found out that she had been cremated and her remains were put in a river. I was scared to ignore her, so I replied, "Sarah, it's not you, is it? Is it?" She immediately replied, "I need your help." She then gave me your number and asked me to send you those messages. I had no idea what was going on, but I just went with it because I was scared. She then ghosted me, yet again. Tonight, I got a message again. She asked for a final favor, the first message that I sent you. Sarah told me what happened, what she did with Rhea. She did it because Sarah figured that Rhea blocked her. She read it from your posts online where you told the world how nice your friend Rhea was, and she traced your number from somewhere and Rhea's from you. Just like you'd be wondering now, I never understood the how part too. I am so sorry for you losing your friend. Sarah was a very possessive friend. I am so sorry about everything. Hopefully Sarah lets me free now, but if you ever get a call from her, do not ignore her. Wish you the best. I was shivering after I read this message. My hands went numb. I saw the Polaroid photo of me and Rhea that I had next to my bed, except the scribbles on it changed. "Do you have a friend?" Something in my room at night. Recently moved to a new apartment, and for the first time ever in my life, I'm having sleep paralysis. Every single time I feel a presence, someone touching my side and back with their fingers. I have abandoned my room at this point and never go in there anymore unless I have to. It's not just because of this, other things have been happening as well. A couple months ago, I was laying in my bed, and in the reflection of my TV, I saw a being about 3 feet tall, standing and staring at me. As soon as I noticed it, in a strangely inhuman way, it ducked down incredibly fast out of view. I immediately got up and looked under my bed, and there was nothing I could see. This happened to me when I was a kid too. I was having a nightmare about a short hooded figure about the size of a child, and when I ran up to it to see what it was, I felt a sharp pain in my left side and woke up. When I opened my eyes, I saw a being in the darkness standing about a foot from my face that was about 3 feet tall as well. After seeing it a couple seconds, it vanished into thin air as if it turned invisible. Well, the sleep paralysis with it touching my back happens also to that same exact side. I felt a sharp pain in when I was a kid that woke me up. It got so bad I had to abandon the room I was sleeping in, as I mentioned. The last couple nights I was in there, something terrifying happened. One night I felt something get up on my bed next to me, moving my mattress. I could feel the weight of it. The next night I woke and saw what looked like the hand of a child reaching up from under my bed in the reflection of my mirror trying to grab me. Well, this is where shit gets really scary. The literal next day, my roommate tells me how his coworker had a weird experience. A being reached up from under the line in a restaurant when he was closing alone and grabbed his leg. It then tried to do it again. Thing is, he was alone and there is no room for a person down there to hide at all. I didn't tell him what happened to me, and we have no contact with each other at all. Things like this have been happening to me since I was a kid. Literally, doesn't matter where I go, it follows me everywhere. I don't know if it is one thing or multiple different things happening to me. I've had experiences where a man talking to me wakes me up. It's always the same voice. Or another time, someone clapped third hands directly in my face, but I was home alone. Recently, even though I've been sleeping in the living room with my cats, I've been woken up twice now by a voice talking directly in my ear. The last time it happened, it was so loud it hurt my ear. One night, I got drunk and was taunting it. I know, stupid idea, but I was at the end of my rope and feeling really stressed out. I told it how it's a coward for hiding and that I'm gonna find it. I was laughing. Well, it yelled directly in my ear one morning saying, "Aren't you gonna laugh at me?" Things at different homes have been moving on their own. There's been lights turning themselves off, cats chasing and growling at something I can't see. This is bizarre, but just a couple weeks ago when I was watching TV with my roommate, I saw something duck down behind my mattress. I have it in my living room now. Thing is, whatever it was couldn't have been larger than half a foot. What even is that small? And when we got up to look, there was nothing there. I know some people will probably say it's hallucinations or that it's just sleep paralysis, but it happens when I'm awake as well. I feel it's important to note I haven't been having just paranormal or supernatural type experiences, but I also saw a gray alien as well. One night when I was walking home around 2 in the morning, I saw a very tall, slender being with no clothes on, crouched behind some bushes right outside my bedroom window. It had a teardrop head and absolutely massive black eyes and was just staring at me. Barely any nose or mouth, no ears. I'd say if it stood up, it would be about 8 to 9 feet tall. There was another time I woke up with my shirt on backwards and blood in my mouth. Had a dream that I was on a table somewhere I've never been, and a gray was standing over me smiling. I don't know what to do. I don't know what this all is. I feel like I am a magnet for the weird, and I hate it. It has ruined my life. I am not normal anymore, and I am so depressed and anxious. I constantly carry a knife everywhere I go in my apartment, and I'm scared to sleep. I'm always watching my surroundings and feel like there is always something watching me, ready to attack me at any moment. What do I do? Does anyone have any similar experiences or have any idea why this is happening to me? I feel so isolated and like nobody believes me. When you realize that your close relative is living in a haunted house. In my late 20s, my close cousin Joan, her husband, and her son ended up on hard times. They had no choice but to move into her sister Kate's house, which was already occupied by Kate, her husband, and a grown man they took care of. I was invited to come and visit, which I was eager to do. Joan and I brewed coffee, called out for pizza, and spent hours playing Yahtzee, which was not unusual for us. We were being silly and competitive as usual. It was getting late, and I said I wanted to head home. Joan told me to follow her to the basement, where Kate and her husband had a small apartment in the house, to say hello since Kate and her husband just got home. Joan tried to turn on the basement stairs light, but it was burnt out. I told her no problem, I would just take it easy. I could hear her walking ahead of me, and just then I saw a man walking up the stairs, which he had to have walked through Joan. This is weird because it was jet black and no light at all on the stairs. I could see him as plain as day. He wore a white t-shirt and blue jeans, no shoes, dark black hair, and blue eyes, and it looked like he had not shaved his chin or under his nose. He walked right through me. I stopped in my tracks. I could not shake the image or the weird feeling of having him walk through me. It happened so fast. I could hear Joan at the end of the stairs yell up to me, "Where are you?" "I'm coming," I answered. Shaking off what happened, I proceeded down the stairs and met up with Joan. I could see a light in what looked like a living area that was through a set of French-style doors in the basement. Joan knocked and we entered for me to have a short chat with Kate and her husband. They had another entrance in the basement and stated I could use it to get to my car. I did not say anything to anyone who lived in that house because I thought I was out of my mind. A few weeks later, Joan called asking if I could get over there as soon as possible. I jumped in my car not knowing what was going on. Joan met me in the driveway. It was about 9 at night when I got there. Joan was home for the first time since they moved in, alone. She was hysterical. After I calmed her down, I got her in my car because she would not go back into the house. I asked what happened. She said that she had just done laundry and was folding it on her bed watching TV when suddenly she could hear children crying in her closet. She opened the closet and found nothing, and the crying stopped. She went back to what she was doing and she could hear the crying again, a woman's scream, and a gunshot. That, that is when she called me. I convinced her to show me where it happened, and we entered the house and it was so eerily quiet. We went to her room, I opened the closet and poked around. I stood in there listening. Nothing. I then went outside and checked around the house with a flashlight I found lying on the kitchen counter. Nothing. I decided to stay with her until her husband came home. He was out at a friend's party or something. We sat on her bed just chatting away and folding her clothes when I heard it. A faint child's sob. It started faintly until it became a fearful, heart-wrenching sob. I jumped up and whipped open the closet door and the noise stopped. I was bewildered. Not scared, just bewildered. Joan was terrified. I took her hand and we spent the time in the living room until her husband came home. My mother worked at the police department in meter enforcement, but I knew several officers because I hung out at the station or visited my mom there. I decided to visit my mom that next Monday, just before the end of her shift, to see if I could get some information on if something happened at my cousin's home. I was able to talk to a lieutenant who remembered that address. From what I can remember, a family of 4 lived in the house. For some reason, the father became enraged, and the mother hid the children in the closet as well as herself. The father came in and shot them all. Later, after leaving a note, he hung himself in the tree in the backyard. Kate and her husband continued to live there until the man they took care of passed away. However, Joan and her family moved a month later. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and devour the bell icon. If you have a story you would like to share, send it to creepychefmedia@gmail.com.